Week 2. Day 12. The Eucharist and the Saints. Day 12. Thomas Aquinas, there is a difference. Set your minds on the things that are above, not on earthly things. Colossians 3 verse 2. It was a typical Wednesday morning in Naples, Italy. The year was 1273 and it was the feast of St. Nicholas. The temperature hovered around 50 degrees, as it mostly does at that time of year, and the burly priest, wearing the same white habit he had worn for years, was doing what he loved more than anything in the world. He was offering Mass. His focus and commitment were palpable to all those in attendance. The priest was known to have the mystical experiences during Massachusetts. Many had seen him burst into tears or become dumbstruck during the consecration. Others had heard stories. So it wasn't that unusual that on this day, as he consecrated the bread and wine, a vision overcame his senses. Later, some would say he saw Jesus. Others that he was granted a glimpse of the glory of heaven. The priest himself never explained what happened or described what he saw. It wasn't the vision that shocked those who knew the priest. It was what he did next. After a lifetime using his unrivaled intellectual genius to write, the priest declared that his work was finished. When his secretary and friend asked him what had happened, he replied, "All that I have written appears to be as so much straw after the things that have been revealed to me." Now that wouldn't mean much coming from most people, but it was a staggering statement for this particular priest. His name was Thomas Aquinas. Over 2,000-year history of Catholicism, Thomas Aquinas is among the greatest theologians and philosophers the Church has known. Many believe his intellectual contribution to be unmatched. His theological and philosophical works are still studied today in all manner of schools and universities across the world. His Summa Theologica is a masterpiece of epic proportions, and yet, after whatever he saw at Mass on that fateful December day, he decided to leave it unfinished. He would die just 3 months later without penning another word. Thomas Aquinas had one of the greatest minds in human history. But he was intimately aware of two important truths that elude many great minds. The first was this: the longest journey we make is from the head to the heart. It is a spiritual journey, a pilgrimage of prayer. We think of the heart as emotional, and it is, but it is also deeply spiritual. This was the second: there is a vast difference between knowing about God and knowing God. Do you know Jesus or do you just know about Jesus? St. Thomas Aquinas wasn't just a brilliant mind. He was a man driven by a deep love for God. He was a man of deep prayer. And at the very center of his life, the source of his wisdom and joy, was the Eucharist. The same man who used Aristotelian philosophy to define transubstantiation the moment the bread and wine become the body and blood of Christ could hardly speak at times during the Mass because he was so moved when he participated in the actual miracle. Thomas Aquinas' example invites us to ask some powerful questions about our own lives. Am I living my life from the mind? Am I living my life from the heart? Or have I found the delicate balance between the heart and the mind where love and wisdom reside? One night, in the chapel of the Dominican Priory in Naples, a sacristan concealed himself to observe Thomas Aquinas at prayer. He saw Thomas lifted into the air and heard Christ speaking to him from the crucifixion on the chapel wall. "Thomas, you have written well of me. What reward will you have?" "Lord, nothing but yourself," was Thomas's reply. Anytime we think we want something other than Jesus, we are mistaken, confused, disoriented, disillusioned, or deceived. For it is in him that we live, and move, and have our being. Acts 17 verse 28. Love takes up where knowledge leaves off, is what Aquinas observed. As we continue to deepen our relationship with the Eucharist, it is fruitful to expand our knowledge and intellectual understanding of the Eucharist. But let us never forget that it is our relationship with Jesus, true God and true man, that animates our faith. As some of the greatest writers of all time, Thomas said it more profoundly than I could ever hope to. The Eucharist is the sacrament of love. It signifies love. It produces love. The Eucharist is the consummation of the whole spiritual life. Trust. Surrender. Believe. Receive. Lesson. Knowing about someone is not the same as knowing a person. Strive to know Jesus more with every passing day. Virtue of the day. Wisdom. The virtue of wisdom is the good judgment to consider the outcomes and consequences of today's choices on the future in this life and in eternity. The world is drowning in information and knowledge but starving for wisdom. Wisdom is truth lived. Spiritual communion. Jesus. I believe that you are truly present in the most holy sacrament of the Eucharist. Every day I long for more of you. I love you above all things, and I desire to receive you into my soul. Since I cannot receive you sacramentally at this moment, I invite you to come and dwell in my heart. May this spiritual communion increase my desire for the Eucharist. You are the healer of my soul. Take the blindness from my eyes, the deafness from my ears, the darkness from my mind, and the hardness from my heart. Fill me with the grace, wisdom, and courage to do your will in all things. My Lord and my God, draw me close to you, nearer than ever before. Amen.